Welcome, listeners, to a brand new podcast called They Didn't Teach That at School. My name is Mark Kerrigan, and the theory behind this podcast is to uncover some of the amazing, fascinating, and quirky things that have occurred throughout history that they didn't teach you at school. Our first 10 podcasts are going to focus on the Bible, and we are going to discover some incredible things that you probably didn't know. I intend to get behind the scriptures and discover who they were written for, why they were written, and what they say about the civilization that wrote them. For our very first podcast, we're diving into the captivating realm of ancient Hebrew cosmology. It is important to note that these cosmological beliefs were the ones prevalent during ancient times and were not unique to Hebrew culture. They represent the cosmological understanding of that era. So get ready to uncover some fascinating insights into how the Hebrews perceived the world around them. To kick things off, let's delve into the creation stories of ancient Hebrew cosmology. Now, most of us are familiar with the biblical account of creation, where God speaks the world into existence in 6 days and rests on the seventh. But did you know there's actually another creation story hidden within the Hebrew texts? The lesser-known creation story can be found in the book of Genesis, specifically in Genesis 2, verses 4 to 3, verses 24. In this alternative narrative, man is created before the plants and animals, and the very first human is formed from the dust of the earth. It's a fascinating departure from the more widely known creation story. Not only did the Hebrews record their perspectives of creation of the world in their sacred texts, they wrote about the mundane, everyday but important aspects of their daily lives. Farming and agriculture was an all-important topic to ancient civilizations. Without food, you die. So it's really interesting to see how the Hebrews viewed the rainy seasons, which played a crucial role in their agricultural practices. You might be surprised to learn that the Hebrews didn't just have a single rainy season like many other cultures. Instead, they had 2 distinct rainy periods. The Hebrews divided their year into 2 distinct seasons, the early rain and the latter rain. The early rain, known as Yoreh, fell in October or November, marking the beginning of the agricultural year. It prepared the soil for sowing and planting. On the other hand, the latter rain, called Markush, arrived in the spring, just before the harvest season, and provided the final boost of nourishment for the crops. And they incorporated their knowledge of the rainy seasons and their unique view of nature into the cosmos and into the book of Genesis. Genesis 1 verses 6 to 10 says, "And God said, Let there be a dome in the midst of the waters, and let it separate the waters above from the waters below. So God made the dome, and thus separated the waters that were under the dome from the waters that were above the dome. And it was so. God called the dome sky, and there was evening and there was morning, the second day. And God said, Let the waters under the sky be gathered together in one place, and let the dry land appear. And it was so. God called the dry land earth, and the waters that were gathered together he called the seas. And God saw that it was good." They wrote this because, according to ancient Hebrew cosmology, the earth was often envisaged as a flat disk resting on pillars. The sky, or shamaim in Hebrew, was seen as a solid dome that arced above the earth, and the mountains were viewed as the pillars that held up the sky. This dome held back the chaotic waters separating the celestial realm from the terrestrial world. They also believed that the stars were actually attached to the solid dome of the sky. They thought the stars were tiny openings or windows through which the heavenly light shone down onto the earth. The Hebrews believed that as the stars changed position with the seasons, these windows opened or closed to control the flow of water, leading to rainfall or drought. They saw the rain as a result of God opening the windows of heaven to let the celestial waters pour down upon the earth. This shows how the ancient Hebrews connected their cosmology with their religious beliefs and the natural phenomena. It's incredible how ancient cultures developed intricate explanations for the world around them. The ancient Egyptians, for instance, had a unique understanding of the universe with their own cosmology. According to their cosmology, the universe emerged from the primeval waters of chaos known as Nun. They believed that the first landmass, called the primeval mound, emerged from the waters and provided a stable foundation for life. It's fascinating to think that their creation story was intimately tied to the watery origins of their land and has parallels with other creation stories from other cultures. Our next stop on this journey takes us to the concept of Duat, the Egyptian underworld. Unlike the gloomy and terrifying visions of the afterworld in many cultures, Duat was a realm filled with adventure and exploration. The Egyptians believed that the sun god Ra travelled through this underworld during the night, encountering various challenges and adversaries, and they believed that every night Ra had to battle a gigantic serpent named Apep, who sought to devour the sun and plunge the world into eternal darkness. Now, let's take a closer look at the Egyptian pantheon. Most of us have heard about the well-known gods like Ra, Isis, and Osiris. But what about the more obscure deities that played a significant role in their cosmology? One such deity is Nut, the goddess of the sky. According to Egyptian belief, Nut was the arching sky, stretching over the earth like a protective canopy. But here's the quirky part. She was often depicted as a woman adorned with stars, and it was believed that she swallowed the sun every evening and gave rebirth to it every morning. And speaking of rebirth, the ancient Egyptians had a remarkable fascination with the concept of eternal life. They believed in an afterlife filled with abundant riches and pleasures. But to reach this paradise, one had to navigate the perilous journey through Duat. We all know the Egyptians placed immense importance on the preservation of the physical body through mummification. The reason is, however, they believed that by preserving the body, the deceased could maintain a physical form in the afterlife. The rituals and processes involved in mummification were essential to ensure a successful transition to the next world. As we delve deeper into the mysteries of ancient Egyptian cosmology, let's explore their connection with the celestial bodies. The Egyptians closely observed the movement of the stars, particularly Sirius, which they associated with the goddess Isis. Interestingly, the rising of Sirius in the pre-dawn sky marked the beginning of the flooding of the Nile, a vital event in their agricultural calendar. They believed that the annual flooding of the Nile was the result of Isis's tears of joy as she witnessed the rebirth of the land. Such a beautiful and poetic way to explain this natural phenomena. Let's wrap up our journey through ancient Egyptian cosmology with a truly quirky fact. Did you know that the Egyptians believed in the existence of a giant cosmic serpent that encircled the earth? This serpent, known as Mahan, served as a protective entity, warding off evil forces and safeguarding the world. It represented cosmic harmony and protection. Now, to mix things up a bit, let's travel to the other side of the world and see what they thought of all of this. One of the most ancient and revered civilizations on our planet is that of China. Not a lot is heard about the ancient Chinese. That's something I intend to remedy later on in this series, but they had a fascinating cosmology as well. Ancient Chinese cosmology, rooted in Taoist and Confucian philosophies, provided us with a unique and intricate understanding of the universe. While we all know about the Great Wall, the Forbidden City, and the Terracotta Warriors, there is so much more to discover. To truly grasp the essence of ancient Chinese cosmology, we must start by delving into the concept of yin and yang. We've all heard of this dualistic philosophy, but did you know that the concept was inspired by observing the movement of the stars? Ancient Chinese astronomers noticed that the stars travelled in circular paths across the sky, forming a yin-yang pattern. This celestial dance eventually gave birth to the concept of balance and harmony between opposing forces. Also, the ancient Chinese believed in the existence of 10 suns. Yes, 10. According to legend, 10 suns took the turn to cross the sky and scorched the earth. To save humanity, the heroic archer Hao Yi shot down 9 of these suns, leaving only 1. This fascinating myth not only offers a glimpse into ancient Chinese imagination, but also reflects their understanding of the solar system. Moving on, let's explore the ancient Chinese fascination with 5 elements: wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. While most of us are familiar with the Western 4-element system, the Chinese added wood as a crucial component. They believed that these elements not only shape the physical world, but also influence human personalities and social dynamics. Now let's take a moment to discuss feng shui, a practice deeply ingrained in ancient Chinese cosmology. Feng shui effectively means wind-water, and is the art of harmonizing one's environment to promote balance and positive energy flow. But feng shui also extends to tomb design. Ancient Chinese believed the positioning and laying out of tombs could impact the well-being and fortune of the deceased's descendants. As we unravel the tapestry of ancient Chinese cosmology, we mustn't forget the mystical creatures that inhabit their folklore. From the mighty dragon to the graceful phoenix and mischievous Pishu, these mythical beings hold significant cultural and symbolic meaning. Did you know that the dragon was considered a symbol of power and good fortune? The phoenix represented beauty and rebirth. Oh, and Pishu? It was believed to be an auspicious creature capable of attracting wealth and warding off evil spirits. Let's take a brief moment to acknowledge the genius of ancient Chinese astronomers who developed an accurate calendar system. The traditional Chinese calendar is a lunisolar calendar, meaning it combines lunar and solar cycles. This intricate system allowed them to predict celestial events such as eclipses with remarkable precision. And finally, we head back to Eurasia and look at Mesopotamia. Mesopotamia, the cradle of civilization, a land between two rivers, the Tigris and Euphrates, home to the ancient Sumerians, Akkadians, Babylonians, and more. When we think of ancient Mesopotamia, thoughts of great empires, magnificent ziggurats, and legendary kings come to mind. But did you know that the people of this ancient land also had a vibrant and complex cosmology? To understand Mesopotamian cosmology, we need to go back in time thousands of years before modern science. In Mesopotamia, the sky was seen as a reflection of the earthly realm, a mirror of the divine. The stars, planets, and celestial events were believed to hold deep significance, influencing the fate and fortunes of both individuals and civilizations. Similar to other cultures, Mesopotamians had a tripartite cosmology. They divided the universe into three realms: the heavens, the earth, and the underworld. Each realm was governed by specific deities and had its own unique characteristics. Let's start with the heavens, which are associated with Anu, the god of the sky. The Mesopotamians believed that the heavens were made up of three layers, the highest layer called Anu's realm, which was the dwelling place of the gods. Below was the middle layer, which was associated with the movement of stars and planets. And finally, the lower layer, known as the firmament, was believed to be a solid dome that covered the earth, separating it from the celestial realm. Does that sound familiar? But here's where it gets really intriguing. The Mesopotamians believed that the stars were actually divine beings, each with their own personality and purpose. They thought that the constellations were celestial deities moving across the sky, influencing human affairs. They saw patterns in the stars and used them for divination and astrology, much like we do today. Let's journey to the earth, the realm of the humans. In Mesopotamian cosmology, the earth was seen as a flat disk floating in the primeval seas, surrounded by a circular mountain range. At the center of the earth was the sacred city of Babylon, which held immense religious and political significance. However, the Mesopotamians also believed in the existence of a cosmic tree that connected the earth to the heavens. This sacred tree, known as the world tree or cosmic axis, served as a conduit between the mortal realm and the divine. It symbolized the connection between humans, gods, and the cosmos. And finally, we descend into the underworld, a mysterious and dark realm ruled by the goddess Ereshkigal. The Mesopotamians believed that the underworld was a gloomy place where the souls of the deceased journeyed after death. They thought that the sun set into the underworld at night and emerged from it at dawn, representing the circle of eternal life and death. Ancient cosmologies provide us with a unique lens through which we can understand the worldview of these ancient people. It is a reminder that our ancestors possessed a rich tapestry of beliefs and understandings that may differ greatly from our modern scientific perspectives. Each civilization has borrowed the aspects of their cosmologies from each other, but the Hebrew and Mesopotamian cosmologies have a significant number of similarities. This is due not only because of the physical proximity of both civilizations, but because, in their various wars, large swaths of the Hebrew population were captured and taken into exile in Babylon, where they were exposed to Mesopotamian culture and beliefs. This mingling of cultures allowed for the Hebrews to mould aspects of Mesopotamian cosmology into their own ideologies. In fact, the early books of the Bible were probably written by Hebrew scholars exiled in Babylon. So why did the Babylonians capture the Hebrews and bring them back to Babylon instead of simply installing an overlord or annexing the land? The fascinating reason behind that topic is for my next podcast, Wars of Conquest. Thank you for listening to my ramblings through ancient cosmology. It's a humbling reminder of the diverse ways in which humans have sought to make sense of the world throughout history. Well, that wraps up today's episode of They Didn't Teach That at School. I hope you've enjoyed this dive into ancient cosmology and the quirky details that make it so intriguing. Stay curious, keep exploring, and remember, there's always more to learn. I'm Mark Kerrigan. See you next time on They Didn't Teach That at School.